Over my brief AEW career, I have come so close, but never managed to obtain the victory that would mean so much to me. And now I'm back here again in the finals of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and I need this. Not only for me, for my career, but to do it when we are honoring one of the greatest wrestlers who's ever laced up a pair of boots. That makes it mean so much more.
Ruby's scrappy. I think Ruby senses that people don't really appreciate her right now. And I think she sees me as the mountain she needs to overcome to finally get the approval of the fans, to finally get the recognition she deserves. Ruby's very talented. Her and I, we go to war in the ring, but she couldn't beat me last time. Her first title match in All Elite Wrestling was with me. She couldn't do it. Did she do it again? Probably not.
Britt's full of herself. And I think Ruby has the perfect scenario set up here to escape with a victory. Think of what it would mean for Ruby Soho to beat Britt Baker on this grand night on pay-per-view in Las Vegas.
When I first got here, I was fortunate enough to gain an opportunity at the AEW Women's Championship, to which Britt Baker possessed. And to this day, that moment in Arthur Ashe Stadium, it haunts me.
That's thunder enough! It's thunder enough to get into it!
And Britt positioning Ruby away from the ropes. The lockjaw!
The end could be near.
Oh, she's
It's over. It's over. The champion retains by submission. Well, if you weren't aware of who Ruby Soho is, if you're like me, you've got newfound respect for this young woman.
It came down, JR, to too many people against her.
I don't know if this is right to say this, but Britt Baker, you could call her my Achilles heel. She's the ghost that haunts me from that loss that day at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And the only way to get rid of that ghost is to finish this. Is to finish that haunting, is to finish that annoying little voice in the back of my head. And it's to beat her at Double or Nothing.
I think Ruby is coming into this match with extra motivation and extra edge. And I think Ruby Soho is going to walk out of Las Vegas as the first ever winner of the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament.
I am going to win the Owen Hart Foundation tournament because there's nobody more determined in this division. There's no harder worker in this division. There is no other DMD.
Britt Baker and Ruby Soho. Right now, I would say iconic figures in pro wrestling. We might get the match of the year.
In the beginning of all this, I told Britt, as Owen once said, enough is enough. It's time for a change. But I wasn't talking about her. I was talking about me. I was talking about the way that I approach every single one of these matchups. Before, I was respectful and humble and happy to be here, but not anymore. I'm hungry. I've changed this mentality of just being happy to be here. Now, those moments are mine.
I don't think there's anybody on this roster that is better fit to win the Owen Hart Foundation tournament than myself. I'm sure Dr. Martha Hart would love to congratulate Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Successful women, you know, we kind of have a thing for recognizing other successful women.
Ruby wins. I'm not going to be totally shocked. But I'm not going to discount Ruby because Britt Baker's in it. Oh, the mighty Britt Baker, DMD. Get Shivani in here to do that.
Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, walks away with the Owen. And I'm going to tell you why. Since losing the world title to Thunder Rosa, she has been more focused than I've ever seen her before. As much as I think Ruby is a great athlete, I think Britt Baker is going to become the first ever women's champion of the Owen.
Watching all of the competition, I feel like Owen would have been so proud to be able to see people do something in his honor, in his name. There was a time when you mentioned Owen's name that it brought tears to my eyes. Now when I hear his name, I think about this tournament I think about him being honored by the men and women of AEW and everybody fighting as hard as they can to see who was going to hold that Owen Hart trophy. I feel like this is what I've wanted for a long time, is my brother to be honored, and he's being honored.